You are listening to episode number 74 of the Everything Ham Radio podcast. Today we're going to talk with Bob Josuweit, WA3PZO, about the 13 Colonies Special Event Station coming up pretty soon. So stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Everything Ham Radio podcast. My name is Curtis, I am K5CLM, and I am your host for this podcast. This podcast comes out every Thursday morning. In this episode, number 74, we're talking with Bob Josuweit, Whiskey Alpha 3 Papa Zulu Oscar, about the 13 Colony Special event that's coming up over 4th of July week. That's July 1st through the 7th UTC time. So we're going to get into that here in just a minute, and I thank Bob for coming on. But first off, I want to remind everybody you can find the show notes of today's episode at everythinghamradio.com/podcast/74. That's the number 74. You can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/everythinghamradio, or the page at facebook.com/everythinghamradio. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/everythinghamradio, and on Twitter at K5CLM. So I guess before we get started with the interview, first off, I want to apologize. I forgot to turn off my AC before I started this, so like the first 30 seconds or something like that, you're going to have AC noise in the back, and that actually happened on next week's episode as well, twice actually, in the first two segments. Totally forgot about it. You know, it's 95 degrees here, y'all, and I'm working in a barn. Basically, that's not totally insulated yet. I have insulation on the walls, but not the ceiling, so it gets hot. And with the sun beating down on a metal roof with no insulation or anything in between, it tends to warm up this room, as I'm sure you can guess. But I'm going to work on that. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have this totally insulated, and I won't have that problem. Of course, I won't have that problem come, fall when it starts to get cooler either. Then it'll be cold out here, and I'll have to turn my heater back on. But anyways, so please forgive me for that. Both, like I said, this episode and next episode, it's not too bad, but it is there and it is noticeable. And I will try my hardest to remember to do that with the next episode. So I guess with that, let's go ahead and get started with the interview for today. Hey everybody, we are here with Bob Josuweit. His call sign is Whiskey Mike 3 Papa Echo November. Sometimes it's really hard for me to get out the international phonetic alphabet because I work in law enforcement, and those are totally different than what it is in law enforcement. But I got it, I think. So, Bob, thank you very much for coming on, and we're going to be talking about the 13 Colonies Special event here in just a little bit. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, first of all, my call is WA3 Papa Zulu Ocean, and the club call that you mentioned, WM3PEN, is the club call of the Holmesburg Amateur Radio Club in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm the president of the club and also trustee of the club call sign. So I've been active in ham radio since 1970, primarily an HF operator, although I have been involved with repeater operation and just starting to get into some of the digital modes.
Cool. So I just totally messed up your call sign. I guess I should have asked that before we started. So it's Whiskey Alpha 3. What was it again?
Papa Zulu Ocean.
Papa Zulu Ocean. Okay, that's okay. I got that straight now. I'll make sure to get that right in the show notes. So how long have you been a ham?
I've been licensed since 1970. Started as a novice, taking a test through a evening class, and having to appear for my general and advanced before the FCC, so all before the VE program started.
Wow. So you've been up there in the high ranks for a long time.
Yes, I have.
So let's talk a little bit about this special event coming up. What exactly is the 13 Colonies Special Event?
Okay, the 13 Colony Special Event will be running July 1 through July 7th. It's actually the evening of July 6th, but if you go UTC, it'll be July 7th to 0400 or midnight on the 6th. It's a special event to acknowledge each of the original 13 colonies as we gained our independence, being over the 4th of July week. And this year we have, as in past years, 2 bonus stations. The WM3PEN call will be on from Philadelphia, birthplace of independence. And also our friends over in England will have the GB13COL. So the object of the event to make contact one of the stations. The various states will have, or colonies will have a K2, a 1x1 call, K2A through K2M, and possibly working what we would call the clean sweep of working all the colonies plus the 2 bonus stations. And you can then earn a certificate, which is different each year. And if you want, you can send for a QSL card to each of the bonus stations, or each station, and get a complete set of QSL cards.
Awesome. So a little history lesson here. What states are involved with this?
Okay, well, we have New York, Virginia, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, Georgia, Massachusetts, New Jersey, North Carolina, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Pennsylvania. And we always get the question, why isn't Maine included? And back in colonial times, Maine was part of Massachusetts.
Really? I did not know that. Very interesting. So what are the, you mentioned the 2 bonus stations. Why, what are the, I guess the, and what's the word I'm looking for? My mind just went totally blank here. What are the bonus stations for, I guess you could say?
Well, they're adding a little bit extra flair to the event since we're celebrating over the 4th of July week with Independence Day being in there. It seemed very natural to have a station in Philadelphia where independence began. So we got involved about 7 years ago and offered to put Philadelphia on the air. And then in the past couple of years, thought, gee, the British played a major role with our fight for independence, and that would be neat to have somebody on from the other side of the pond. And it's actually offered a little bit more of a challenge with our with the way band conditions have been, particularly last year. It was very difficult to work in England, but many people did it, and had a good time making contact. And our friends over there were really helpful. They made up for the difference in time. They stayed up all night and worked as many people here in the States as they could, even though there was a time difference.
So are each of the states, is it like a club that hosts the main thing? Are they individual operators, or how does that work?
It's a combination. Some of the states are a group of active hams, some contesters. Some have some big stations. In Philadelphia here, it's a group of clubs that we have involved with. The Holmesburg Amateur Radio Club is the lead club. We also have the Philmont Mobile Radio Club, the Pottstown Amateur Radio Club, and the Philadelphia Digital Radio Association. And we're doing a little bit unique this year with in the digital radio world, that we're going to be having a station on at specific times for operating on D-Star, Fusion, and the All-Star Network.
So not only HF, but you also have VHF Digital and UHF Digital. That's awesome. That's going to make it a little bit easier, especially with all the stations and states being so close together. I imagine that's kind of a hard thing to do if you actually live there.
Yeah, it is. Here on the East Coast, we're all fairly close together, so we have to rely on 40 meters or 80 meters for contacts. And I like the idea of getting it on the air and exposing as many people as possible to a special event. Many of these special events are HF only and oriented towards the HF operator. And by offering the digital modes, anyone with any license can get on the air. And even locally here in Philadelphia, we'll also be doing some FM VHF work on 2 meters to really help out the locals. And all that information will be posted up on the 13 Colonies website.
So do you, being that you are so close, do you basically just stay on 40 and 80 meters, or is there some like 20 meters also? Or
we will go anywhere that the band is open. We try to work with band conditions. We have multiple operators, multiple stations. Our operators are, in all cases, are operating from their homes, and so we're spread out enough. And the operator they'll operate their favorite mode, whether it's CW, voice, or a digital mode, and they'll try to. We'll work with band conditions, so we may be on 20 during the day, but as nighttime comes around, we'll move to 40 and 80 meters. Last year, 40 meters was the band to be on. We'll see what happens this year.
Now, if they're individual operators, located all over the state, how are they able to use the same call sign? Do they get on at different times a day, or?
Yeah, we have. Each group has some sort of logging mechanism, whether it's on using Google Docs or some other sign-up sheet, where they'll sign up for a specific time or band or mode, and as long as you don't have 2 stations operating in the same mode on the same band, we're in good shape. Be much like field day operation, that you might have a CW station on 40 CW, another one on 40 phone, and but that's all coordinated by an operator who is coordinating the event for that particular call sign.
Okay. Very interesting, for sure. So you mentioned before we started about a program that y'all do in conjunction with this special event. Why don't you tell our listeners about that?
Okay. The Holmesburg Amateur Radio Club participates with a national program called Stamps for the Wounded. It's a program sponsored originally by the Lions Club and has been in operation since the mid-1940s and supported by every president since that time. But they collect the canceled stamps and then send those to whether it's a VA hospital or other hospitals that help with rehabilitation and occupational and physical therapy for our wounded vets. And these stamps are shipped to those hospitals where they can be used in therapy programs. And we've gotten a really great response from our participants in the event. We take all the stamps that come on the QSL card when we get the letter requesting a QSL card, and we get over 1,000 QSL card requests every year. And we take the stamps off of there, collect them, put them in a package, and send them off to the organization. And we've had additional responses from actually overseas. We've had stamps come from England, from Germany, and we've done some local publicity, and people have actually had stamp albums that their relatives had collected stamps and no longer needed them or were active or participated in that particular hobby. Wow. And they would send it to us. And last year we shipped over 31 pounds of stamps. Now you can imagine a roll of 100 stamps is less than an ounce or about an ounce. That's a lot of stamps to have collected and send off to the program. And it's just a way of giving back to help the veterans. And I know the Stamps for the Wounded program appreciates the work that we do, and they acknowledge us every time we send a package off to them. And you could see a lot of those thank you notes that we get from the organization on the WM3PENQRZ.com page.
So where If somebody wanted to send you stamps and stuff, where would they send it to?
Well, you can use the address right on for WM3PEN, and the address is good on QRZ.com, and just send it to us, and we'll acknowledge back to you that we received them, and put them in with our next mail. If you're requesting a QSL card from us, put a few extra ones in the envelope with the card, which would be great. When we do send out the QSL cards, we put a little note with every card saying that your stamp went to the particular to the program and how it's being used, and it's just been a tremendous response. We've had individuals send in stamps. We've had organizations, people are a member of a gun club or other organization where they get a lot of mail, and they've collected the stamps through membership dues, or where they've had a large mailing, and then would also then mail those back to us every once in a while. So it's really grown, and it's taken on almost a life of its own.
That is awesome. Absolutely awesome. All right, so let's take a quick break and hear from West Mountain Radio. We'll be right back with Bob Josuweit, and we'll talk some more about the 13 Colonies Special Event. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Are you tired of lousy propagation conditions and wondering how to work some real DX for a change? Maybe you spin the dial and wonder what's going on below the voice segment of the HF bands. The answer is you're missing out. You're missing out on digital modes, a rapidly growing and exciting part of amateur radio. Work real DX with the incredible JT65 and JT9 modes. It's no exaggeration when I tell you, you will work stations you never thought possible, even using low power and compromised antennas. Have fun making new contacts in modes such as PSK31, Olivia, Radio-Teletype, Slow Scan TV, and many more. The RIGblaster Advantage is everything you need to operate these exciting digital modes. Made right here in the US, the RIGblaster interface has set the standards for nearly 20 years. Thousands of satisfied operators have learned their RIGblaster Advantage will provide solid digital communications, easy operating, and reliability. Don't miss out on the fun and excitement any longer. Head on over to everythinghamradio.com/WMR for more information and learn how to get your free USB port monitor with your purchase. All right, y'all, we are back with Bob Josuweit, WA3PZO. I finally got his call sign right. And he is one of the operators for the WM3PEN Special Event Station with the 13 Colonies Special Event. So, let's talk a little bit about the technical aspect of the thing. What exchange would I use if I'm making a contact with one of the stations?
Okay, it's simply your call, your name, a signal report, RST, RS, whatever, and either state, province, country, and very simple, quick exchange. And you only have to work each of the stations once. You don't have to work them all bands, although many people try to do it, or all modes or anything. You simply just need one contact with each station. And if you don't work them all, that's okay too. You can still request the certificate. If you can work all the colony stations plus the two bonus, you have what we call a clean sweep of working everybody. And I've seen or had comments come to me that people have done this in one evening, but it's a week-long event, so that if you don't have time to spend on the radio, 24/7, you're tied up with the July 4th holiday. Whatever time you have on the radio, take a listen, watch some of the DX spotting networks. People will be on there, such as DX Summit. We also have there's another site that's popular called cwfun.org, and that will have the 13 colonies on it, and you'll see a little bit more of the conversation going there. There's also a Facebook page available for the 13 colonies, and you'll see some other comments come up there along the way that is active during the event. So as far as the additional mechanics of it, after you make the contact, after you get through the event, there is a log sheet on the 13colonies.net website, and that's 13colonies.net. For each of the colonies, you put in your information. The form has a spot for your name and address, and fill in now the other information that's requested, which is pretty minimal. But send that off, and you can get a certificate. And then for the individual stations, you can send your QSL card with an SASE to the QSL managers, and they're listed on the 13 Colonies page. You'll see an individual page per colony and for the bonus stations, and send an SASE with your QSL card, and a card will ultimately come back to you. And the mail does get swamped, so we get over 1,000 cards in for our station. I know that some of the others get even more in from, they make a few more contacts than we do, but they will get answered, and you have a nice collection. We know some people have even made nice wall displays, putting a certificate, say, in the middle of a frame, and the QSL cards around the certificate. And what makes it neat with this is that the certificate is different every year, having a different theme. Pardon me. This year we do liberty or death, and the other years we've done ships, we've done flags, we've done key leaders during the independence, during the Revolutionary War period, and so you can really get a nice combination year after year. I know with the WM3PEN card, we try to do a different. We have done a different card every year, and this year we, because of the Liberty or Death theme, we actually have the Liberty Bell on the card, and a real nice saying that was taken from the that's inscribed on the Liberty Bell: "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." So that's an inscription on the Liberty Bell itself.
So is the if I only make, say, five colonies and I request the certificate, is the certificate the same if I just make one contact, or is there a special one for the clean sleep one?
It's the same certificate with the stations that you worked acknowledged on the certificate, and I believe there will be a marking if you do the clean sweep of all of them. So there's a slight different marking on the certificate, but the basic certificate is the same.
Cool. So is the time? I mean, we talked about the days a little bit ago, but we didn't mention the time. What time are they operating? I mean, is it like sporadic throughout the 7 days, or is there a set time, or is it basically 24/7 for that week?
I would say certainly probably morning to midnight local time. Some will obviously go past that. Here on the East Coast, we want to stay up as late as possible to give the West Coast a chance to work us, and we'll see how band conditions go. We have to deal with the thunderstorms and other issues, and activity may drop a little bit the evening of July 4th because of wanting to spend time with their families or fireworks, etc. But it will be as certainly a good portion of the day. As we get into Monday, we imagine a lot of people will be taking off to make it a 4-day weekend. For Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, some people have to go back to work, and so we'll try to fill in where we can and keep stations on the air as much as possible. So we may only have one voice operator or one CW operator instead of being multiple bands being covered in that period. But watch the spotting networks, and each station will make the best effort possible to stay on the air where the activity is.
I imagine you'll get quite a pileup.
Quite a pileup if you haven't been on the end of a DXpedition or in a major contest station. It is an experience, but for some of the new operators we get them on the air during field day and get them behind a mic or behind a key or whatever it happens to be, so they get used to what it's like to have a little bit of a pile up. We definitely have people coming and searching for us. We're not tuning around the band looking for other stations. And everything's done, all the logging's done electronically. For the PEN operation, we do upload to Logbook of the World and EQSL, and as well as have the paper cards. We'll try to get everything out as quickly as possible. I know my mailman loves me for a couple weeks. I get the QSL cards myself coming in the front door, and they just love seeing 100 or more pieces of mail coming in every day for a couple days.
Yeah, I imagine. So is there a set frequency or a published frequency that the operators are going to be working on, or is it just kind of, I guess, use the spotting networks to find them?
Use the spotting networks, and we'll stay up in the general portion of the band to give everybody the most chance of working everybody, but it'll be really trying to find a clear spot. It is an event. We don't have any special privileges or hogging a frequency or whatever, so we try to move and stay out of everybody's way or let people come to us. And sometimes it's a challenge with the propagation that we don't always hear everything that everybody else is hearing, but we try to accommodate and keep things going. And for the bands, the work bands can be used. The only thing we will not be on is 60 meters, but we will be up on 17 and some of the other bands there as well, besides the traditional 20 and 40 meters, 20, 40, and 80 meters.
So you'll have single side band, PSK 31, RIDI, CW. What?
Yeah, I think that will probably be the most popular modes there. Maybe some JT65. Maybe tried. I mentioned the D-Star Fusion All-Star will be going, and locally here in Philadelphia we'll also do some 2-meter FM simplex.
Sorry, had a phone call coming in. Shame on me. So, if I'm not actually one of y'all's colony stations, I just have to fill out the sheet that's on the log. I don't submit basically my entire sheet, correct?
Right, just the one call per one contact per call sign, and it take you 5 minutes to fill in the form. Looking up your information, say you do not have to work the same station on multiple bands, multiple modes. It's a challenge if you want to do it, but for the certificate, it's not required.
And that log sheet can be found on your website, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I found it. Really easy to find, y'all. It's a big black button on the top of the page that says log or log sheet log. Log sheets. Real easy to find, super easy. I will have a link in the show notes of the episode today showing y'all where to find all of this stuff. And last question before we go to break again. When do the logs need to be in by? Or do you have a deadline?
So within I'm not actually sure. I'm trying to, within 2 months would probably be a good suggestion. I don't know that there is an actual specific time. But the 13 Colony event was organized by Ken KU2US, and he's been the main driving force behind the 13 Colonies event and getting all the various states and the bonus stations involved. And he does print out take care of the certificates himself, and it's a major effort to print the call signs on it, repackage the certificate, get it mailed out, and he goes through a lot of work to get that done. And we all appreciate his efforts for what he does, as well as all the other QSL managers for the different call signs.
Cool. Very cool. All right, so let's go ahead and take another quick break here, and we'll be right back with Bob. We're going to continue our talk about the 13 colonies, and right now let's hear from KB3IHF. I hope you're looking to get your upgrade or your new license, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dan, KB3IHF, author of the No Nonsense Amateur Radio License Study Guides. My study guides have helped thousands get their license or upgrade to general class or extra class, and they can help you too. What makes them unique is my no-nonsense style. I don't bamboozle you with a lot of text. Instead, I give you just what you need to know in a simple, straightforward way that's designed to help you pass the test. One reader even told me, your study guide explained in a couple of paragraphs topics that the license manual needed a couple of pages to cover. Another wrote, the clarity and simplicity of your descriptions blew the license manual away. My study guides are available in paperback, in a variety of ebook formats, and even as audiobooks. Get your copy today. Go to kb6nu.com/ETHR for more info. Thanks.
All right, y'all, we are back with Bob Josuweit, WA3PZO, and we are continuing our discussion about the 13 Colonies Special Event Station that's coming up real soon in 10 days or something like that?
Yeah, 10 days, a week after Field Day. So operators here will be fairly busy for 2 weeks.
Yeah, sounds like it. So let's talk a little bit about the history of it. I mean, this whole event is basically history driven. How did this event start?
Okay, the event was organized originally by Ken KU2US up in New York, and while I wasn't involved in the very beginning of it, I was looking for a way to celebrate our independence, and why not put a station on from each of the original 13 colonies. So back in 2009, you got a group of operators together from each of the 13 colonies, and they made about 12,500 contacts. The WM3PEN operation got involved in 2011, and by that time we were up to over 40,000 contacts. And the event has grown since 2014. We've added in the second bonus station, and last year we had over 139,772 contacts, and we have been through times of no sunspots. 40 meters has been really good. We've had some solar storms, which made some propagation issues. We've had some really bad thunderstorms and tornadoes go through various areas of the East Coast at that point, and we've had equipment failures too, some amplifiers dying and other radio problems. But we still managed to stay on the air and try to have a good time with the event.
Wow, that's just amazing. 139,000 plus.
Yes.
Wow, that's just awesome, and I could definitely see a pile-up issue there with that many contacts, even though it is spread over 7 days, but still, it's a lot of contacts. Let's talk a little bit. I mean, you said, how long have you actually been involved with this?
I've been involved since 2011. In 2010, I guess, was my first year as a participant, being on the other end or on your end of the activity, and saw the event and being on the 13 colonies. And since our club is located in Philadelphia, where independence began, that wanted to be the idea to come in and participate. And so I contacted Ken and asked him what he thought of the idea, and by the following year we were in, and we came up with the bonus station idea. And given that we would signals might not be quite as strong, and we being in the city, we don't always have room for big towers or beams. Everything we're limited to some verticals or some dipoles and more modest stations, and limited to the 100 watts. A lot of us cannot run amplifiers here in the city because of close proximity to our neighbors. But we're there, and people enjoyed the challenge. And isn't it sort of neat to say that you actually worked into Philadelphia on July 4th? Last year we had actually had as part of the national parks on the air during the 13 colonies, we had a station on Independence Mall, and for a couple hours, and we had a secondary special QSL card just for the operation at Independence Hall. So we may try it again this year. We are working on coordination with the National Park Service, and it will probably be after July 4th, because there are a lot of July 4th activities going on in Independence Mall between July 1st and July 4th. So watch the 13 Colony website, as well as the WM3PEN page on QRZ.com, and we'll have updated information posted there if we are able to get down there.
I imagine the National Parks in the Air that was going on last week probably helped quite a bit getting that happening. Yeah,
it really was a great operation. Last year our main operator was Pete K0BAK, and he's been featured in several QST articles. In fact, over the June issue with Field Day, of his little nerd wagon, operating totally outside, everything contained on I won't say a little red wagon, but a little green wagon, and putting up the antenna. And it was totally outside, so we're very much weather dependent and time limited by what the National Park Service says we're able to do.
So if, say I lived up there in one of the original 13 colonies, can I personally or my club still get involved and operate one of the 1x1 call signs and be part of the special event?
Probably at this point, I think most of the stations are set up, but for future operations, you can contact KU2US, and he will forward the information to the appropriate state coordinator, and we'll see what they can do and add you in. Certainly welcome operators. A lot of us want to spend more time with our family during a holiday week, so the more operators we have available, the less time we can have to actually spend on the radio we can spend with our families, and I know they appreciate that.
Right. Absolutely. So being that you've been on that side of the special event for so long, I'm sure there's some real memorable moments for you. Can you tell us some of them?
Yeah. We had one over in a contact over in England, and John Durham was the printer of the Declaration of Independence, and he's from Ireland. And so we, on July 4th, we made contact with his hometown in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
And we were doing that for a couple of years, as long as propagation allowed. We've had a lot of people bring back memories of Philadelphia that where they served in the Navy here, our naval hospital, or our shipyard back in the day, or that they've toured the historic area of Philadelphia, and they have shared that memory. I've also had a couple of where entire families, a ham family, has competed amongst themselves to make contact. And I can remember in one envelope we got QSL cards from the father, mother, and there were 3 or 4 kids, that everyone being licensed, and they all were requesting their individual QSL cards. And so it's been fun sharing, and we get notes on the cards saying that we made contact last year. Look, we enjoyed doing it again, and or they enjoyed the hunt of looking for all the stations over the course of a day or the entire week, and tracking everybody down and working them. And I think a lot of people learned about propagation and what they could and couldn't do at different times of the day. And so everybody finds their own little challenge and unique experience with the event.
Yeah, with Field Day coming up this weekend and that coming up basically the week after that, or, well, the weekend, starting the weekend after that, I'm definitely going to have to see if I can get my antennas up. I finally got my tower up last week. I'm definitely going to get my antennas up and get on HF, because there's some awesome special events that are coming up here really soon. Let's talk. You mentioned in the last segment where KU2US is actually the one that prints the certificates and stuff. Surely he doesn't do this out of his own pocket. Do y'all have like sponsors, or is it all private donations, or what?
Well, for the certificate, they ask for a $5 donation, and that helps cover the printing cost and the mailing envelopes, etc., back to the individual station. And if there's a problem that for some reason you can't afford it, just put a note in with it, and Ken will take care of it. For the QSL cards themselves, in most cases they are funded by the club, if there's a club involved. So within the WM3PN cards, as a club we purchase them. We do have individuals that will put an extra $1 in the envelope to help offset our costs, which is much appreciated. It's definitely not a money-making thing. We cover our expenses, use it for the printing of next year's cards if we have anything left over. Sometimes somebody won't put in SASE. Now taking care of the DX cards via the Bureau. There's additional handling charges sending the cards up to ARRL that were implemented this year for the Bureau. And so that some of that money offsets that, but it's really not much. If we get maybe $20 extra that we're able to put towards next year, it's really just a drop in the bucket when you compare $100 for the QSL cards and the other expenses that we have along the way.
So the individual clubs are actually the ones that have their QSL cards printed and paid for?
You know, our cards, the Home Sport Club pays for the WM3PN cards, and so if we have any extra donations that come in, we'll put that towards the cards. But the club is definitely laying out money to make have a different card every year.
Cool. So is there some place maybe that maybe one of the listeners want to give you $5-10 or something like that, other than sending it? Is there a place so you can like donate on PayPal or something like that you know of?
No, there's nothing on PayPal. If you wanted to go to individuals' call sign, you can certainly you'll see who the QSL manager is on the 13 Colonies site. You could send them a check, or the club a check if involved there with PEN. Or the club address is fine, or just put a $5 bill, or if you want in the envelope with your QSL card. We're not looking for the extra money. It's very nice if somebody wants to donate it, and we certainly appreciate it. But this is definitely not. We're not out there looking to make a buck on this event.
Right. Now, I noticed that there is actually some extra stuff on your website. You can actually get the coffee mugs and mouse pads and stuff like that. Are those like, if you get the clean sweep, can you buy them through you, or where? How is that done?
All right. Well, Randy KB3IHF prints most of the QSL cards, and he has his own QSL card business. So he's through his business has made several mugs and mouse pads, etc., available, and they can be ordered if you're interested in it. That's strictly a dealing with his company, but he's been a big supporter of the event as an operator in Maryland, as well as helping with printing the QSL cards.
Yeah, I actually use Randy for all of my swag stuff. I actually have my mouse is sitting on a Everything Ham Radio mouse pad, and my drink is on a coaster. So I definitely recommend y'all heading over to Randy's site and getting QSL cards or some swag store, some personalized stuff, or you can go to my swag store and get some Everything Ham Radio stuff. So definitely check those out. They are awesome quality, and Randy is a very awesome guy. That pretty much is all the questions that I have. Is there anything else that you want to mention before we wrap this up?
No, looking forward to working everyone. And if you have any questions, certainly drop any of the operators a site on the website, or you can use the WM3PEN address on QRZ, and we'll try to answer it. And looking forward to seeing the mailbox be full generally about 2 or 3 days after the event starts. So, with the 4th being on Tuesday, I would say by Wednesday we'll probably have the first 100 QSL cards in the mail slot here. So when I'm not operating, I'll probably be starting in on the QSL cards.
Licking those stamps and sending them off, huh?
Absolutely.
I hope you get like one of those little water bottle things, you can put the stamps on or something.
Well, we do. When we get our July club meeting, we actually have a QSL card party that we'll bring in cards that have accumulated, and we'll probably put 10 people to work on the filling out the cards and checking the logs and making sure everything's in agreement, and getting those in the mail. But the cards come in year round. I literally just got one card in for last year yesterday, and had a pile from the Bureau, probably another 30 cards from the Bureau that came in last week. So it's always seems like it never ends. There's always requests for a card, and as long as we have them, we'll send them out.
Well, Bob, thank you very much for coming on today and talking to us about the 13 Colonies Special Event. I wish y'all well, and hopefully y'all will break y'all's record from last year and top that 139,000. Yeah, 139,000. Hopefully you get 140 or better this year. So if any of y'all have any questions, make sure you head on over to their website. Again, it's 13colonies.net. That's 13colonies.net. Check out the website. Get on the air, talk to them, and get your QSL card and your certificates. I'm hoping to get some of my own for sure. So again, Bob, thank you very much, and 73 to you, sir.
All right, thanks a lot.
Have a great evening.
Okay.
Bye. Wow, that was a really neat interview with Bob, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully being able to participate in this special event. I would love to have the QSL cards up here on my wall to look at. The first question that I asked Bob whenever we started this was to tell a little bit about himself, and afterwards, after we got done talking, I went and looked up his QRZ website for this information about the stamp thing that he talked about. I'm going to talk about it here in just a minute. But as I was reading his QRZ profile site page thingy, he's done a lot of stuff. He served as public service columnist for CQ magazine from 2000 to 2009. He was a public service columnist for CQ VHF. He's done articles in popular communications, conformity, 911, and QST. He served as the ARRL Public Relations Committee for over 10 years, a member of the ARRL's Retired Public Service Advisory Committee, and past chairman of the Emergency Communications Advisory Committee. Former Eastern Pennsylvania Section Emergency Coordinator and Assistant Section Manager, and he's currently the president of the Holmesburg Amateur Radio Club in Philadelphia. Founding member of the Mid-Atlantic Amateur Radio Club, member of the Philadelphia Digital Radio Association, and the list goes on. This Bob has done quite a bit. He's had quite a career in amateur radio. So, yeah, thanks again, Bob, for coming on. It was great talking to you. He even served as a member of the 1980 Winter Olympic Torch Relay Team. If you look on his QRZ website, he actually has a picture of him holding the torch. Wow, this Bob, you've done quite a bit, and I wish you would have said a little bit more in the interview, but wow, definitely awesome. A little bit more, an additional reminder: if you have stamps that you have already used and you've already received it, send those to them. Send them to them. Not the standard America Forever flag stamp. They don't want those, but they want any other U.S. stamp or DX stamp. Send those to the WM3PEN address. And if you go on QRZ and look up that call sign, I actually have a link to it in the show notes as well. You can get the address of where to send it to. And that goes for a great cause, helping those in rehabilitation and the stamps for the wounded organization. So if you have any stamps, send it to them. Send it with your request for a QSL card, or just send them stamps. That was amazing. 30 some odd tons of stamps, or 300 some odd pounds, I think is what he said. So, but anyways, yeah, definitely check those out, and I'll have links to his QRZ site as well as the WM3PEN site on QRZ, and the all the other links that we've talked about in today's episode. But that pretty much wraps it up. I thank y'all very much for listening. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my email list. I don't send y'all a whole lot of emails. Basically, just whenever I publish a new podcast episode, I'll send an email out, or a new blog post. I've been trying to do that on like Monday, Tuesday, something like that. Just released one here last Tuesday, which I had a really weird experience on Facebook when it posted. It had actually posted a graphic from last week's blog post about the trip around the world that Brian Lloyd, I believe his name, is doing. It posted that picture, and I couldn't get rid of it. It frustrated me, but so I just kind of left it on there after trying like 3 or 4 times to put it on there correctly. But anyways, this blog post that I posted this last Tuesday is about a book that I just got done reading not too long ago. And it's called Ham Radio Boost, Lessons Learned in Amateur Radio. It's written by Lucian Koch, I guess, DH7LM. I'm sure I mispronounced his name. But it's a really neat little book, and it talks about all the lessons and stuff that he's learned over his experience as a ham radio operator. And a lot of those things I totally see in myself. I totally see in other hams around me. So it's a relatively cheap book, and I believe as the time of this recording, I think he has it on sale for like 99 cents. It's typically like, I believe, $2.99 for the Kindle version and like $8 for the paperback version. There is links in that blog post as well, and I'll include a link to that blog post in the show notes of today's episode as well. But really neat book, highly recommend it. Definitely go and check it out. And if you buy it through my website, click on the link there. You'll be helping me out as a affiliate link, so I'll get a little bit back from Amazon. If you would like some other way to help out this podcast, there are several ways you can do it. First off, I have the swag store that you can find at everythinghamradio.com/store. And I have a mouse pad. I have some coasters. I have let's see, what else do I have? I have a couple other things. Can't remember off the top of my head. But there's quite a few items in there, and I'm working on getting a picture made up of my custom-made desk call sign nameplate or call sign plate. I'm working actually on one for me, so I'm going to work on that and get it put up there as soon as possible. But you can also make a donation through PayPal. There's a link at the bottom of the show notes that you can do. You can become a per episode contributor through Patreon. I think all my my Patreons that have donated to me, you can do just $1 per episode, so $4 a month, and you can help support this podcast. You can also simply shop on Amazon through my affiliate link, and there's a link on the sidebar of my website that you can click to go to Amazon, and anything that you buy on there, pretty much, I'll get a small affiliate fee for. All those of you that have purchased in the past, thank you very much. So I'm sure, any way that you can help, even if you can't help monetarily, just go to, and if you buy stuff on Amazon, just go to Amazon. It's not going to change anything for you. It just kind of helps me out because I get that little kickback, so to speak, for my affiliate fee. So thanks very much to my sponsors, West Mountain Radio and KB3IHF. Thank you for your continued sponsorship, and we will have a new offer from West Mountain Radio here in the coming weeks. I believe it's going to be a power check. I have it here. They actually sent me a refurbished one. It's a really neat little device, and we'll talk more about it next month. But I guess that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. So thank you very much for listening. I greatly appreciate all of y'all listening, all the support that has been given to me over the past year and a half or so that I've been doing this podcast. It's amazing what this hobby does. The help that y'all provide me, the help that you provide each other, and locally with your clubs and helping other hams, being Elmers. This hobby is amazing, and I mentioned this a little bit in next week's episode as well. I actually recorded it last night, but I had my tower that I took down from my old house, and a couple of local hams came over and took it down for me and didn't charge me anything. So the ham radio community is an awesome community, and it's one of those communities that's basically second to none, I think. But yeah, so I guess that's about it. I'm gonna stop rambling now, and I'm gonna let y'all go. And I will talk to y'all next week, where we'll be talking with Bob. What is his name? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's Bob Greenberg with RF Finder. So hope to talk to y'all next week. Hopefully y'all will listen. And thank you very much again for Bob Josuweit today, talking with the 13 Colonies Special Event. Hope to see y'all on the air, on the event, or otherwise. Oh, one more thing before I go. The question of the week this week. What is your favorite special event? You can answer on Facebook, you can answer on the show notes, whichever. Just let me know, what's your favorite special event? So I guess with that, I will let y'all go finally, and I will talk to y'all next week. So until next time, this is K5CLM signing out. 73, y'all.